Hello, everyone. It is I, your host, Justin's Game. And right now, I'm going to be going over the thing that's, well, now known as Star Hulks. Originally, they were supposed to be called Planetary Corps, but they changed the name. In terms of translation, they just changed it. And basically, let's just call them Star Hulks for now. So I was waiting on doing these Star Hulk things so a little bit more support came out for them. So that was the reason why I haven't reviewed them before. So right now we have the starter, Star Hulk Ruruli, or Roly. He's just your basic starter. He has that creepy looking type of Phantom S type of look. So that's just it. He's just your normal draw a card thing. Now, here's something a little bit more interesting. His name is Starhulk Gikarus. So, one thing before I even get to his skill is the green thing on top his eye? Because if it is, I kind of see like a smile there. Then again, he's a part of Link Joker, so I wouldn't doubt something like that. And for some odd reason, I think about Patrick Star when I see this guy. So Gikarus' skill is Auto Guardian Circle. When an attack does not hit, counterblast one, and move this card to an open rearguard circle. So you get to guard, and for a counterblast, you get to call that card to an open rearguard circle. So it pretty much says that, hey, I'm not gonna waste one card. If I guard with it, I still get something to the board. A -1 from hand and +1 to the board. That's okay. And act rearguard cost Soul Blast 1 Star Hulk Star Lurely, the starting card, and look at the top card of your opponent's deck if you do find that card. So these two were the first Star Hulk cards to be revealed. A lot of people made some jokes about that's a nice trigger card that you have right there. It'd be a shame something bad happened to it. I knew better. Because I knew about the whole Planetary Corpse thing. I knew better. And I'm going to get to that a little bit later. So yeah, you can bind a card. And if you don't bind it, leave it on top. And this is something that only you can see. Your opponent pretty much doesn't have any right to know. So I just wanted to point that out. Alright, so this is a card that was released during the show. His name is Starhulk Cheryl. He's a grade 1 AK. And he has the skill, Auto. When placed, cost Counterblast 1. Reveal 4 cards from the top of your deck. Put up to 1 grade 2 or greater card with Starhulk in his card name from among them into your hand. And put the rest into the drop. So this is a little, consistency type of card to get your actual ride. So if you get gray stuck on 2, you search top 4 and get a grade 2. I find it a little odd that the other cards just go to the drop zone and not the bottom of the deck or anything like that, but that's fine. So you can search up to grade 2s, grade 3s, and the card that I know that's going to be a grade 4, that's an option too. I think he's good. Alright, so we have Starhulk Letaluk. He is a really interesting card. He has 2 skills. Auto. When your drive check reveals a card with Starhulk in his card name, this unit gets 10,000 power until the end of the turn. So, I guess it's safe to assume that all the cards that you're going to be using in this deck is possibly, most likely, going to be a Starhulk unit. So, whenever you check something, is going to get 10k. You're going to be checking something twice, most likely on the twin drive. So that's plus 30k right then and there. even if you get like 1 Star Hulk and a trigger. That's pretty good. And possibly even 40k if you're on a forest marker. He's good. He's really good. And his second skill, when it intercepts, if you have a Vanguard with Star Hulk in his card name, look at the top card of your opponent's deck. You may bind that card. So we're going to get a little bit, right back into him. But honestly, all I'm going to say right now is he's going to have a target on his head. I'm just saying this right now. We're gonna come right back to this guy. And the main card of the day, who was firstly known as Planetary Corpse King Brandt, he is now Wandering Star Hulk Ruler Brandt. He's a grade 3 with Imaginary Gift Force, a 13k base. Act Vanguard. Cost Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. Until the end of your opponent's turn, change the trigger effects other than the power increase to critical. Your Vanguard gets critical -1. Okay. So that pretty much means that the damage that your Vanguard would normally do is pretty much not going to happen. And heal. Deal 1 damage to your Vanguard. So, if you have a person that gets a double heal, that's 2 damage. Alright, so there's a lot to go over with this card. When I first originally read it, it was like really underwhelming. Until I read it again, I said, oh, this happens. What I mean by that is, like, when it's a Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1, right? So, for your turn and your opponent's turn, it could really be deadly if heals kind of only pop out. So, like, okay, so let's go over basically what this means is your triggers are pretty much, your worst enemy, especially the heals. So, the critical thing is not too much to worry about. This kind of makes the card pretty defensive. Unless your Vanguard can somehow get like another critical, but it's still only going to be doing like 1 damage. More on that later. During your attacking turn, if you happen to make your opponent check a heal, and the attack actually hits, you're pretty much doing 2 damage. So, like, right back to Star Hulk Let-A-Luke. The whole point of this deck and his gimmick, his strategy, is to pretty much manipulate the cards on top of your opponent's deck. If you see a card that's not a trigger, bind it. If you see a card that is a trigger, leave it on top. Especially if it's a heal, because you're going to be doing double damage. Now, Let-A-Luke pretty much, like I said, the reason why he's going to have a target on his head is if you have 2 of this guy on board, you can intercept with 1. And, double your chances of actually having your opponent get, like, a heal triggered on top. That's another good thing. So it pretty much says that you want to get rid of Let-A-Luke. Now, so like I said, that's a strategy. And, okay, so it's like, about the critical skill. Sorry about this, like, I haven't really had any time to, like, write a script or anything. The critical skill is more like not too much to worry about. Either way, like, you can actually kind of counter these cards, honestly, in a way. If you have some type of way of deck manipulation. That's one way. Let's see. I mean, honestly, this thing can actually get over OTT in a way. because they're all about, deck manipulation and putting things on the top of the deck, especially since they have cards like Tetramagus. You can pretty much screw over, their drive checks. I mean, you can screw over any type of drive check whatsoever. And there's a chance that your opponent might not be able to do anything about it. And then again, I mean, you have cards that can actually, in a way, counter this. Like, you have Blaster Rapier in the Royal Paladin. Yeah, we're going to go there right now. Blaster Rapier. If, like I said, you're going to want to get rid of those Letalukes right then and there. And, make sure that you don't really get the heal. First, get rid of the Letalukes. Then see if you can actually swing your Vanguard. If you can retire them or bind them, that's good for you. That's one strategy. Overall, I want to say that this card, it's not as oppressive as I originally thought it would be, because the original ones had, if you check a critical, your Vanguard gets critical -1. If you get a heal, you do 1 damage. If you get a draw, destroy one of your, your opponent, destroy one of your rear guards. If you get a stand, rest one of your rear guards. I guess they thought that the card would be like too powerful in standard, but overall I still think it's nice. It's just, you can actually counter this card a little bit more now. Like, if it's an Excel clan, if they choose to, if they know they're gonna fight this thing, then you can actually just run all like front triggers. For all we know, you can actually run 8 fronts, and they only have 1 trigger to actually, deal with. Like, Excel clans have had that option. This, honestly, I still think it would be a really good matchup against, blasters, for instance. Like, remember, Messianic Lord Blaster can actually have 6 critical if you have 6 different types of blaster cards. If you get, a double critical, that 6 is going to go down to 4. Still dealing out 4 damage, so they have a really good matchup. And I actually think it would be a really interesting matchup, to actually say the least. Overall, I still think he's a good card, and remember, he's just a triple R. His Stride version is going to be coming out pretty soon. Oh, to say the least. And I also want to say that, before I, leave the video, I'm going to say in premium, he's not really all that, because if it were an auto skill, that'd be a different story, but it's an axe. So if you want to use it, you have to give up your whole Stride turn. Like I said, overall, I think he's okay. Ringer might be he's most likely going to be the true ace. Heals are your worst enemy. And that's it. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Please share with your friends. And you guys have a nice night, and take care of yourselves and each other.